It's truly frightening.
This isn't a man.
Gives you a home.
Oh man, I got this. Take one for me too, man. Yeah. Stop it.
What's up, Horror Fiends? It's your boy, Ricky Van. Happy Halloween. It's October, and it's always Halloween for Ricky Van and the Horror Fiend TV crew. We got a very special guest. The man is back, Robby Horror, on a very special episode of Three Corners of Horror. What's up, Robby? Thank you once again for joining us, and how you doing?
Hello, humans. Happy spooky season. This is our time. I am very, very happy to be here and talking about this particular film. How's everyone doing?
Excellent,
Great.
Excellent. Yeah, it's October. Whew.
Oh,
yeah. Like I said, it's all month. It's Halloween for me. So, what up, JR the Villain? What's good, bro?
I'm interested to talk about this one. Movie called Oddity. I don't know what was more odd, the movie itself or the fact that it was kind of odd that it was a slow burn that I might not like.
And my man, my brother from another mother, Joe the Psychologist. What's good, bro?
What's good? Well, of course we like horror in October. Both you and I are October babies. So, by the time this episode drops, my birthday would have been the day before that. And then Ricky's a couple days before that. So yeah, it's my birthday weekend starting.
So,
thanks for joining me, guys.
Cheers, cheers. We all cheer for
Ricky.
big bottles of beer.
And
Birthdays, yeah, man, we're getting old, but it comes with the territory.
But yeah, so I was trying to recall the last time that we reviewed a movie from Ireland. So we're gonna have to try to figure that out. But it was something different, and I'm actually looking forward to talking to this one, even if it is going against JR for a couple.
And tonight, we will be discussing the 2024 film Oddity, directed and written by Damian McCarthy. The film stars Carolyn Bracken as Danny and Darcy, Gwylem Lee as Ted, and Caroline Menton, a psychic medium, attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime. This was a film that caught a lot of attention on social media. As you are well aware, if you follow us, I don't watch trailers. I don't even look at posters. I just know something's coming out, and I look for it. This one, of course, had all the hype. A lot of people were calling it tremendously scary, best horror film of the year, all that hyperbole. Whether you think it tanks a film or not, or hurts it in a negative way, that's something to be discussed. But we are going to discuss what we all felt about Oddity. And this is an oddity because, yeah, you're right, Irish film. We don't really get to cover a lot of those, Joe. One thing I will say, this had a very, very interesting character in Darcy. I'm first time really seeing the actress that works. She played dual roles in this movie. Yep. I didn't even know, like halfway through the movie when she mentioned a twin sister, I'm like, wait a minute. They were never in the same scene together. Is that the same actress? Then as I'm watching it, yes, oh my God. It's amazing what hair can do. But Joe, what do you thought about Darcy, her intentions especially? Let's start with her. What you got to say, man?
I did watch this movie twice. I figured out it wasn't so much horror. It is horror, but there was a mystery to it. And I said, shit, my husband, Adam, would probably have loved this movie because I keep making him watch gross shit and he's kind of over it. And this would have been something because this is what he loves. He loves things that are from overseas. And
he walked out during audition, right? Is that the one he walked out on? Oh, no, it wasn't audition. It was, what the he said he walked out a movie recently on you.
It was. It'll come back to me soon.
We just
we just talked about in a Violent Nature.
There you go.
In a Violent Nature.
Yeah.
No, he walked out on me on that one. She had explained about being a psychic. I thought that she was just going to show up to the house and use her powers to figure out what happened to her sister. And they she didn't have to go to the house because once she got a hold of the supposed killer's glass eye and she started finding out the truth. So then again, I thought she was just going there to try to figure out what happened. I had no idea she was actually going to be going in for revenge. I found that to be an interesting twist. out of a character who's blind. I mean, she is unassuming. Like, if she showed up at your house to threaten you, you can easily take her out, you know. But making the fact that she used her psychic, you know, clairvoyant, whatever powers that she had to be able to solve this and then exact revenge. Again, the first time around, I just really thought it was just, oh, it's a whodunit. I thought that's what we're doing. But I'm like, oh, she's got shit that she can use in her little, you know, cabinet of curiosities to take out people. Lo and behold, that's literally what she had been doing. I thought it was just to solve it. And I loved that she was there for revenge.
Yeah, another confession. I didn't know she was blind until like she actually went to the house. I'm like, this character's blind? Like, Jesus Christ, I gotta stop watching this movie so late, man. and, and it's funny because after I finished watching it, I had to go back and watch certain scenes again because I don't know. It was late. JR, talk to me, brother.
See, this is all about twist and mystery, like Joe was saying about the mystery. This film, see, I threw a twist at the beginning to throw you off a little bit, but this film reminded me a lot of Alfred Hitchcock films because you had the mystery. You had the female character who seemed overpowering, who seemed more domineering. And you had this doctor who basically is her brother-in-law or ex-brother-in-law. But the fact that he's used to being the dominant figure, and here comes this woman and basically comes in because, yes, she's trying to find out what happened to her sister, but at the same time, there's motive behind what she's doing. I mean, the fact that she already ordered the trunk to come to the house, so it was already steps she was already taken in this film. But her character reminded me of a pure Alfred Hitchcock character. I mean, the look she had, she reminded me of the woman from Psycho.
It's a good shout out, JR.
The woman from Psycho and the woman from The Birds.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember The Birds, she was very vocal. She took a stand when she's not supposed to take the stand. And, I'll talk about a little bit more at the end as far as how I tie more Hitchcock to this. But I liked her character because here you have a woman who specializes somehow in oddities. And the fact that she has this ability to tell what a person did in their past just by touching the object. And the fact that, we'll talk about this later, she already had an idea of who did what. For her, it was just putting the pieces together to the point where her character was so dominant that she removed the other female character from the house, which is another thing that Alfred Hitchcock does in a lot of his films. So for me, this movie was interesting because I did not read anything about it. I knew people were talking about it, but I didn't go and look at the comments and stuff because I just didn't want to. I know it was rated high, but I understand why. Because for me, this falls into what's happening a lot in horror for the last 2 years, where you get these films that have the big marketing behind them, and they're more of a letdown. Then you have these other films that come out of nowhere that people talk about, that you garner their interest. And when you watch, you're like, okay, I understand why people are behind this film because it is different from what we've seen and it's different characters. So yeah, I enjoyed it. But the funny thing, the first time I saw this, I thought that the doctor was oh my god, the guy who plays Doctor Strange.
Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah, I thought it was him the whole time until he changed. If you look at him real good, he reminds you of Benedict. He has certain appearance. His appearance reminds you of Benedict. His mannerisms remind you of Benedict.
Oh my god!
I'm like, oh shit! Look at this fucking Doctor Strange is the villain in this fucker. I got to rewatch this film because I know I missed a couple of things in this film.
Yeah, it's a movie. It requires. I had to go back. Like I said, I had to go back because then I was confused. I'll be honest. I was like, but after going back and watching those scenes, those key scenes, the movie clicked. So I understand. Robby Horror, talk to me about Darcy and your initial thoughts on the film.
What's up, you guys? So I'm with you, JR, in that I first came to this film knowing only Damian McCarthy's first film, which is Caveat. Again, a very, very small scale, one location, very small cast production, eerie, creepy, has a lot of twists that are slowly unfolded. So this is very much in line with that one. Although I think it's a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more simple and straightforward. Not a bad thing at all. But when I think it's interesting that, because I first saw it with very little fanfare. I knew that it was highly rated in film festivals and stuff, but when I went to go see it, I was really blown away by it, frankly, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. We'll get to the reasons why in a little bit, but I think it's interesting that now that it's been hyped up on social media, a lot more critical reviews are coming out. More home media and streaming reviewers are reacting to it and whatnot. And then I'm just now seeing a little bit of a backlash to it, which I think I understand it, because after months of hype about this film, I think that viewers might be expecting something a little bit more extravagant, when really it really is just a very small, intimate movie with really not a ton going on except for just really well done filmmaking and really well done acting. Very, very simple. So if anyone is listening to this who hasn't seen it, first of all, stop this right now and go watch it.
Yeah.
But just expect very, very little. And I think you'll be surprised by how much it delivers in ways that you're not expecting. But as for the character of Darcy, I'm also with you, JR, in that she projected Carolyn Bracken, who I had also seen in a film called You Are Not My Mother, which is a pseudo possession film. I don't want to say too much, but in which she also plays, in a way, two different roles. So she's kind of cornering the market on this. She's excellent in both of those. She's great in this because she first plays Danny. We first see her. And even though she has a different hairstyle as Darcy, it's not even the hairstyle that makes her seem like a different person. It's the way that it's her energy. It's the way that she moves through the scene. It's the way that she interacts with people. So I think that's the mark of a really good actress. She could have let the hair do all the work, but instead she really physically made these two very, very distinct personalities in a very short amount of time. As for her intentions, I think when I saw it again, I was surprised by how much the resentment and the iciness was layered in there. The first time I saw it, I didn't catch it as much. I thought she was just being assertive and just kind of, moving in on this house. Her brother-in-law said she could visit, so she is, and she is trying to put the pieces together and figure out what happened. When you watch it again, you do see that she knows exactly who did it, and that she's looking for the right moment to use this oddity that she has brought with her. So I thought it was a really clever bit of performance and screenwriting and direction that the entire first half of the film reads differently once you know where it's heading.
I agree with that. That's one of the parts where I had to kind of go back and figure it out once she got to the house, and things started to definitely click on that level. And I love the character. Like I said, she was really interesting. I loved looking at her, even though like when she was blind, even blind, she's so fascinating in her mannerisms and her body language, and all that itself told you a story. And the way you used to mention Robbie, how she's assertive, and I loved how she just talked down on these characters so much.
I also appreciate that she didn't overdo the blindness, and I appreciate that they directed it to
Exactly.
make
I
it
didn't
subtle
catch
to
that
the point
first.
where to the point where you could easily miss it. But she's not like, she doesn't come out with a cane and start batting away at things.
Yeah.
It's like it's very as if it were a real person who is blind.
And you know what's good about that? A real blind person has been blind either all their life or from an early age. They learn to live with that disability. And the fact that she's walking around doing her own things, you're right. They didn't put glasses on her or a cane, or she couldn't like help herself most of the time. No, she was very independent and she was living her life. When she first came on screen during when Ted visited the antique shop, like I said, upon first viewing, I didn't even know she was blind. She was so natural in the way she represented herself, man. I dug that a lot.
And
Yeah, good.
all right, because the other thing, because once you rewatch it, like I said, Jared, when you rewatch it, you'll like this is everything fits in even more. Is that she got everything from his eye, including the conversation. So like it wasn't like she even though you saw her with the ring at one point, she already had it all because she got I forget what the name of the killer was, Olin's. She got all of Olin's what he heard, so she didn't even need the ring.
Like Joe had mentioned earlier, this film kind of had a bit of a mystery attached to it, which I wasn't quite really expecting. JR, did you find that surprising? Did you know what was going on? Did you know there was going to be like an actual killer that wasn't the guy with the glass eye, Olin, who was during the cold open?
Yeah, for me, the conversation between Ted and the orderly, I forgot his name, but
Ivan.
that conversation for me revealed it to me all. I mean, that whole interaction between both of them, I kind of knew that they were both in on it, because the fact that he goes, oh, I went down to the, the town, and I seen the, this woman who I thought was your wife, and I know, she had a, sister, and his reaction was like, like, you need to know. The way I got it is like, all right, listen, you need to know what you need to know. I don't need to tell you everything. So it felt like Ted was already in on it for me. When you have those conversations like that, you have to watch the interactions. And the fact that they're playing chess is these pieces are putting back together. You had this Ivan who wanted to befriend Ted. He wanted to be more than just, all right, I killed your wife. Now you owe me friendship. And Ted's basically using them as a pawn, as a tool. So that whole chess interaction, I kind of knew, all right, this dude was in on it. He had to do it. And then the husband definitely has, because for some reason, a husband in power that runs a psychiatric asylum tends to be a little bit more crazy than the people who are actually in there. So there was a lot of clues that they gave. And I mean, when you watch the interaction, everything is there. Everything is there for you. I got to go back to one interesting thing, because I know you appreciated this scene. Me and you have been more lately, I would think, than ever, a bigger fan of not having to watch the actual brutal murder. So that scene where she's in the tent, Danny's in the tent, and the dude appears, and then he just sits there with the hammer, and then he moves it close, and bam, next thing he's just sitting there inside a tent full of blood. I love that scene because they did not have to show the gore in this film.
That reminded me of, in A Violent Nature, his first kill when he went to grab that guy's face, and right before he grabbed him, he cut it, and the next cut was his bloody hand grabbing the keys. Yeah. This was very similar, where he crouches down, next cut, blood everywhere. Good shot.
But for me, I knew it wasn't Olin from the get-go, because a lot of these movies, the first person you think is the killer is not usually the killer. And Olin's character seemed like he was a helpless person trying to help somebody who was capable of seeing things. But in reality, you realize later what he was actually seeing was Ivan that was in there. But for me, yeah, it was I think, that scene with the chest kind of revealed a lot to me. So I kind of knew who the killer was. Now I was just waiting how this plans out the rest of the way.
All right, Robby, same question to you. Did you go into this knowing you had to do a little bit of detective work?
I didn't. And the thing is, when it comes to whodunits, like, I grew up on all the Scream movies, as I'm sure we all did. I purposefully try not to even if the movie throws me a line and wants me to kind of follow it for a little bit, I will purposefully just kind of hold back because I want to kind of see the whole picture. And I love to be surprised. Even if the killer is extremely obvious, I want to do as much detachment from the mystery as I can, just so that by the end, when it hits, I'm like, all right, that was good. I didn't see that coming. For this one, I should have known from the get-go who it was, because to Jared's point, this is another Hitchcockian trope of this, the gaslighting husband who is behind everything. And it's not just the cool icy blonde. It's also the trifling husband who has plotted, the murder. Yeah, the icy blonde, but also but also the husband who's playing this all out methodically and ultimately does not get away with it. But I think what the film's strength is that even if you are suspecting the husband right from the get-go, there's a lot of things that it throws at you early on that it has no interest in explaining yet. Before Danny even opens the door, the movie cuts to the title. Before you even understand that the wooden mannequin can operate on its own, you have the guy with the one eye. I think it's Olin. You have him murdered, revealing just the eye. You have Darcy taking the eye and figuring something out with it. So it's all these pieces that are kind of just, you're not even sure what the totality of all of it means. So for me, I probably took longer to figure it out than a lot of other viewers, but that's on purpose. I try not to even, solve these things. I like to, I guess I love the surprise aspect. So even if it's more obvious, I try not to even go there with it.
I like how Ivan was telling him, bro, you sure you want to do this? Or he kept telling him other ways to do it, and this guy like, nope, nope, can't do it.
Mm.
And he always gave a valid reason for it. I mean, this guy was a fucking diabolical man because when he's like, oh no, I gotta make sure because if I divorce her, she's gonna get the house, she's gonna get everything, and if I leave her, she'll never get over me. Like, what a narcissist! Like,
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she'll be crushed forever.
Yeah, and then her sister's like, you really thought she wouldn't get over you? Like, come on. Joe the psychologist, bro. I know since we do horror Italiano, we're used to always trying to, even if it's not a like whodunit, mean you were like, okay, all right, who's the killer? What's going on? What's the mystery? So I know you must have a ball with this.
It's funny. I hate when he does that to me because I'm sitting here holding thoughts in my head, and one of them was like, "This is like a horror Italiano type of movie." So when you rewatch it, I figured it out kind of really quick because right before you get the chest, you have Yaya on the camera looking at the videos and pictures that she took. And then you've got this one where Danny is talking about, we decided to do a tent. I thought it was romantic. And she turns to him and he's got the sweater over his head. And when she tells him to take the sweater off, and when he takes it off, he literally looks at her like, I fucking hate you. When you rewatch it, because
in the tent, right? When it was goofy, right? Then
and then he took it out. Just the way he was looking at her.
Yeah, I thought that scene awkward. Like,
it was so much hatred, and which is one of the great things about movies like this. And by the way, JR, it was only an hour and 38 minutes, so that's not. I don't consider that a slow burn.
No,
like if 2 hours is a slow burn, this had good pacing. This had good pacing. For being a slow burn, it had good pacing.
I never found it slow at all. I was
no, and especially when you go to rewatch it again, it's even faster paced for some reason. But when you had to now figure out, okay, so there was something supernatural, but there was a human killer here, and yeah, when he put that sweater down again, when you go to rewatch it, just look at the way that he looks at her. And in that one little scene, I can't say his first name, last name Lee. Great acting job because he showed in just however many seconds it was from him to show that face, the hatred and resentment that he had towards her. Which I was like, oh, it's him. But then you get that he had accomplices, and then as the psychologist here, the fact that he uses his hospital to exact revenge, is like, oh God, and we're watching this, Adam, my husband, was like, because I told him the only thing I said before starting was like, I really love this house. And as we're watching, he's like, I wouldn't live in this house. Are you crazy? It's creepy. And like sitting there, I'm like, well,
By the way, I would have loved to see the way that wooden golem character.
Thank you for calling him that.
That's what he is essentially.
Yeah, I know.
Smashes the guy like fucking Jax from Mortal Kombat. They never showed it, but you saw his fucking head just like.
Oh.
Well, I think she before she got a chance to crush his head, she died.
No, I'm talking about Olin because she killed Olin the same way.
Okay. I thought.
Yeah,
because
Ivan. When she had Ivan, yes. You saw that's what was happening. He had his head about to crush it, but then she dies and the spell is broken.
Yeah.
But watching that, now we know how Olin was killed, because he smashes his head and all that's left is a puddle of goo, which I dug all that. So I wasn't really looking for like a mystery or who's the killer? I wasn't looking at that at all.
Not only does the story transform from like a mystery to entirely about revenge, but it's all Chekhov's guns. Like it's all of them. It's a whole arsenal of Chekhov's guns. The entire thing is fab. So when I did watch it a second time, and I watched it with my partner his first time, and I was just kind of sitting there being like, wow, they really thought of, Damian McCarthy, I guess, really thought of every little way to kind of tie up every loose knot. And there's something really delicious about that.
Everything in this movie is there for a reason. Nothing is wasted. There's no like scenes where you're like, this doesn't belong or it confuses me. No, if you really pay attention and watch it again, if you have to, yeah, you're right. Everything that's put into the film on screen is there for a reason, and it moves the plot further until the very end. Even when he didn't believe in this shit because he wanted to ring the bell from the beginning, and she's like, no.
Even the bell comes back, yeah.
And she knew that, and that's why she sent it. No, he's gonna ring it, and of course he rang it, and And I like that they didn't show it. It just ends. Boop, and credits. Oh, perfect. I'm a gore fiend. And the fact that they didn't show any of it here, it was all implied. Man, I think if you're going to do it, that's the way it's done. So let's hit up the closing thoughts now. We're going to wrap this one up. Give our final thoughts. Anything we didn't bring up yet, now is the time. And give us your score, 1 through 5. So, Robby, I'm going to start with you, my brother.
Look, for me, this is a 5-star movie. I think it's just as close to perfection as horror can get. Like you said, the characterizations, the plot, simple but economical. Everything that you need to know gets set up. I don't feel like there was anything that was missed, nothing that was underdeveloped, but at the same time, they never over-explained anything either. I don't need to know why Darcy has this power. I don't need to know where the wooden mannequin. Like, this is what I see on social media. I see,
Yes.
well, I wish she had a whole bunch of props that, like, and I was like, no, that's not the story that this movie is trying to tell. It's about one woman. She goes in there for a specific reason, for revenge. She has this thing that is already set up at the beginning that is executing her bidding, which is this wooden mannequin, which is creepy on its own. I don't need a whole arsenal of props to kind of attack people. But Damian McCarthy is 2 for 2 and just kind of setting up really brilliantly streamlined, again, economical, spooky, creepy, but delightfully scary stuff. I think there's right now there's a lot of, there's Terrifiers, there's a lot of Hereditaries where it's either extremely heavy thematically or it's extremely gory or some combination of the two. This one is old school. It's very, it keeps the gore to a minimum, but at the same time, you don't feel like it's holding back anything. It's just really, really well executed. Carolyn Bracken is excellent. I think the whole cast is great. Even the actress who played Yana was so funny and amusing, and just how over it she is from the beginning. And to go back to the what's called the bell. What do you call? I mean, I'm losing my. The bell at the very end. The bell that gets rung. I think that he said in an interview that he did want to close it on a jump scare. With him ringing the bell, and then you wait for a few minutes, and then the bellhop rushes at the camera, and it's like a boom. And he's like, you know what, the movie doesn't need that, and that's the kind of a decision that I appreciate. Just let the story speak for itself. Don't do too much. Just keep it simple. It's called KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And I think that is so far Damian McCarthy's calling card. Just do it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste the audience's time. Give us a good story. Move on.
She knew she was going to die, so that's why she walked through their own trapdoor.
She can't see though.
No,
she knew.
She walked around the whole place. So how could she not? She already knew. Remember, she was able to walk around the whole
Why
house.
would she do that though? It makes no sense.
Because she knew she wasn't going to survive. She knew this was her end. And in order for her to control the mannequin.
But she died, so she didn't get to even kill Ivan herself.
I'm going to wait for him to talk, and I'll say.
All right, good. I don't agree with that, but
she was able to walk around the whole house. And if you look at where he pulled it, you still had a walk space around it. Look at this film. You had a powerful woman who had abilities that didn't explain, going against a powerful man. Look how the film ended. She died. The wife died. The girlfriend left. Fucker he didn't give a shit. He's sitting there smiling. Because he won. This is typical Alfred Hitchcock. He won. He got rid of the women in his life. He sat there. I mean, he sat there, and I started laughing a little bit. I was like, "This fucker's gonna ring the bell. He cannot resist it." Because you put a bell in front of you, I'm sorry, we're all ringing that shit. we know we shouldn't, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't see
but he didn't care because he didn't feel like there was nothing that was gonna happen to him. Because this is the powerful figure that he is in his head.
I'm not saying you're wrong. If that's what the director intended, I don't like that. That's stupid.
That's the twist.
It kills the character for me. It makes it so weak.
I think that's an interesting interpretation. I think that in that moment she trusted that Ted would face accountability. I personally don't think that she knew that was there. I think that's an interesting interpretation, because I think narratively, karmically, Darcy had to die because she murdered Olin, who was innocent. So even if she got away with killing Ted and exacting revenge, she had to die to really take accountability for what she even said.
Die regardless.
Yeah, she was going to die regardless. And narratively, I don't think she intended to die that way.
Yeah, you're right. Personally. My point. Yeah, you're right. My point is not that. All right, I'm sorry. Yeah, she's right. She can't live with that guilt. But to just give this guy the
It's not
pleasure,
just
all right, let
killing
me
with
just
a
walk
gun.
into his trap.
What's going to happen if she survived? She would have gotten locked up at psychiatric hospital because he was already setting that up.
Yeah, but she would have
He
found
was-
if it's me, I'm gonna find a way to get this. Because
You're-
you can tell she's smart.
If
She's
she
blind,
was
but she's smart. She could have
No.
found a
Did
way.
she got him at the end.
Yeah,
I think that was a fail safe for sure.
That's lame. That's lame.
Like that's
If-
that's
if-
yeah.
If that's
That's just
what was
my take on
intended.
it.
No, I know,
This
Jay,
is
not
my
you.
take,
I'm
because
saying the
you
director.
have a
If he
woman
chose that,
who walked around this whole house, who was basically knew the house.
well, you're right. But they could have found a better way to go about it. That's my point.
But the fact that when they pulled the trap door and she walked, the thing is, if she didn't try to do it for me, and you're falling through, the minute the floor gives way, your first reaction is try to grab. Right? She dropped straight down. Her hands were to her sides when she dropped. Go back and watch it.
Like if I were to fall through a hole like that, I would have enough wherewithal to catch it. But a blind person would be even that more taken off guard falling
But
through.
the blind person will also step more slowly than the fast-paced walk she did at the same time.
I think
So
in
there's
that
certain- So look at certain aspects. A blind person usually walks slow because they have to make sure that there's nothing in front of them. They always put one foot at a time. The fact that she walked straight, and the fact that the phone was a trap. She knew the phone was a trap because it kept ringing. She started tearing up. That's why,
Yeah.
this is my interpretation. That's why I think she knew this is what she had to do, because what's going to happen? She's going to end up getting locked up in the fucking mental asylum because he's already setting her up with the whole crazy talk. And he had the fact that his girlfriend thought she was crazy too. So that's already set up later on. That, all right, if she gets away, I'm going to lock her up in a loony bin where I could get her anyways.
I think that was for me, that was intended to be a trap for her. And the thing is, she also said there's a couple of clues. Number one, she says to him, "I killed the wrong person. I have to live with that for the rest of my life," which suggests to me that she doesn't intend to die that night. And also, her overall objective is to kill Ted and Ivan. And I think that to kill herself, knowing that she has to be alive to operate the mannequin, I feel like she would want to be alive for that, as opposed to
But
just barely making it.
however, she knew that the phone was a trap. She knew the phone was a trap because of his voice, the way he sounded when he was talking. Look at her reaction the whole time he's telling her about the phone.
First of all, you're dealing with oddities, and she said that things are cursed. So you have witchcraft here. And if you use witchcraft for power to gain or for personal, when she killed Olin, she knew she was going to pay for having used her oddity, her power, and killing an innocent. So yes, JR is right. Very rarely do I agree with my brother on many things. She knew that she had to pay. It's not that she was going to let Ted win on this. She knew she had to pay because before she told Ted that she knew it was him, she was dealing with the guilt that she killed an innocent person who was there to protect her sister. Like, it was gutting her that she had done that to Olin. So she quickly said, and I think she even said, "I'm going to pay for this." Because I said, like, I'll watch it again, but I could swear that she said, "I'm going to pay for this." So with witchcraft, if you use your powers the wrong way, you're going to pay for it. So she knew she was going to end up paying for it. Her plan was to take him down, basically for him to lose everything. So yes, she figured out this was all going to be a trap. It was, none of us are going to survive this. And as Robby said, she had her fail-safe. Because in case my plan did not work out, I need to make sure I still take this motherfucker out. It worked out the way it was supposed to have worked out. And, maybe Darcy just kind of saw all this was supposed to play out this way. And it went this way because you're dealing with, and I'm not saying it's total witchcraft, because it takes place in Ireland. It could be folklore based on different things, but you're, dealing with something that's passed down through the family. That golem came from the mother. There's no explanation. It's already in the family. So you know that the family has the power of certain things. Do you need to know more?
Yeah.
No. So for me, it's a 5.
Think about this though. If she was still alive, Ivan would have had his way with her, right? Ivan would have walked in and basically destroyed her.
Yeah. She's blind. She can't.
Ivan was already going to the house. So the minute he walked in the house, where was she? on the floor, looking helpless. Why didn't
Waiting
Ivan
for
go?
him to
Why
show
didn't
up.
Ivan go over there, strangle her, break her neck or anything? Nothing. He didn't do any of it.
Because he wanted to make it like an accident, obviously, you know.
But he could have broke the neck and she fell and she
Yeah,
broke.
but you
her
don't
neck
want to
on
get
the
your
floor.
fingerprints in. You don't want to take no chances. If she's already dying,
No, he would have
Right.
put. I mean, this is the guy who killed his sister. I mean, he put the. I'm sure.
yeah. But look at Ted. Ted gave this guy all the reasons why not to kill her the way he was suggesting. Because he
He
doesn't
wanted to
he don't want-
rape her.
But
He
he's
wanted.
still-
Yeah, he don't wanna make
He
it-
wanted to do all
yeah.
these.
Well, he's
Yeah,
still-
make
So
it
I'm
look
pretty sure
violent.
Ted was probably like, listen, just don't.
But he still brutally killed her.
Ted. Well,
Regardless, Ivan brutally killed the sister. Any moment he could have done anything to Darcy.
Well, he
But
was
the
supposed to
fact-
also go there to find out if she was dead. Was
Right,
the
and
reason Ivan
she
showed
was
up.
still alive. So that gave her the time to basically take over the government and go after him. But she was dying, and that was her last. She was looking up, and it was Danny.
I think she
Danny decided to do
counted. I think she counted on the fact that Ted was going to send Ivan
Yes.
regardless. So that's who she was. That's what I'm saying. Her end game wasn't Ted.
It was Ivan.
why would
her
it not be
end game
Ted
was-
though? Like he's
Because
Ivan
she didn't-
was the
because-
one that committed the act.
Yes, she just wanted the one who actually. She told him.
that makes it
I
even
wanted-
worse in my eyes. then.
No, she said I wanted to.
You guys
kill
are killing
you.
this character for me. Stop.
Well, no, she said I wanted to kill you. Instead, I want you to lose everything. But
that's
I'm gonna
how
kill
much-
Ivan.
Oh yeah, you're right. She
That's
wanted
all-
to ruin his
she didn't-
reputation.
no,
Yes,
That's
you're
what
right.
I'm saying.
You're right.
You're before you're
Good shout.
like,
You're right, you're right.
Like, think about it. I'm trying to help you here.
I still don't like the fact that you just dumped yourself in the hole though. That's stupid. I could never get over
I
that.
still don't think that she did.
I'm
that.
with Robbie on this one. I don't
No,
think.
I-
so.
I-
I don't think.
no, because
The way
and
she
I'm, this is,
dropped
this
that-
is why
After we record, I'll go into more of it.
All right,
This is
let's
why
get right. Let's
I know.
all right. Let's get guys. We're gonna consider this
Wait,
off
wait.
camera. No,
Are you,
shut up.
Are you going back to your 5?
No, I'm not. I wasn't. No. This is a 4.5 because
Okay, so you're going.
I don't
back
want no
up. Okay.
ambiguity. I don't want no
All right,
ambiguity.
all right. I just didn't
Because
want
you know what?
to
Though,
knock it down.
I'm not gonna lie. But even though I'm with Robbie, you guys do make compelling arguments that you know what. I wouldn't put it past. That's exactly what happened. So she said to go to fucking islands, fucking wherever his place of residence was. She could have sent it to the. She could have sent it to the
I see what
hospital.
you're saying. Again,
It's
this is why we
dumb.
this is why we do this, though,
This is
bro.
why we do
This is why we do
This is why we do
so-
this. All right. Well, with that being said, Robby Horror, man, always a pleasure, my brother.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
When you coming back, Robbie? When you coming back?
I got a movie you should come back on.
We got him for the live stream for when we do Nightmare on Elm Street.
Try to come back for Violet.
All right. Well, Robbie, thank you. JR and
Thank you,
Joe,
guys.
my two brothers. Thank you for making this interesting because that was fun. You know, I never. Again, even though it pisses me off if that's the case, but it does make for an interesting conversation. So thank you guys for being the servant. I'm Rick Grimes, aka Rick Van, JR, Robby Horror, Joe the Psychologist. Come back, stay healthy, stay scared. It's Halloween time, but most of all, trick or treat. Yeah. Man,
Stay scared.